Eleanor Roosevelt was, yeah, it's fair to say, even including Clinton, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton in the White House and Hillary as First Lady, Eleanor Roosevelt was the most powerful First Lady in American history. She was the first American First Lady to have any kind of independent views of politics and any independent venue. She wrote a 6-day-a-week newspaper column. She had a weekly radio show. And she often spoke on topics and espoused positions at variance with those of her husband. And this is one of the reasons that she was considered with such respect by women and men, too, during her time. And it has been viewed as really sort of the first feminist in the White House. She wasn't president, but she lived in the White House. And Eleanor Roosevelt was something of Franklin Roosevelt's conscience on civil rights. And she was constantly pushing Franklin Roosevelt to do more for civil rights. To get behind, for example, a resolution introduced in Congress to create a federal anti-lynch law. Lynching remained a serious problem through the American South. And the laws in the South weren't sufficient to deal with it. Anyway, Franklin Roosevelt refused to sign on to the anti-lynching legislation. He refused to get out front on civil rights, despite the pleas, more than pleas, despite the demands of Eleanor that he do something about it. And what he said, now, with Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt, they managed to play this sort of good cop, bad cop routine very well. Because Franklin Roosevelt could say to his conservative allies in Congress, and Franklin Roosevelt, he was a Democratic president, and he presided over a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate, which meant that the chairman of all the influential committees in the House and Senate were Democrats, but this meant that these were the senior Democrats. And the seniors in the Democratic Party were Southerners from start to finish. And so every important committee in the Senate that was going to consider New Deal legislation on any matter related to civil rights or not related to civil rights was going to be controlled by a Southerner. And Franklin Roosevelt knew that if he made a strong plea, if he really pushed for civil rights legislation, then he would lose those Southerners who controlled the committees and none of his New Deal measures would get passed. And he made a calculated decision. He said, look, I can do more for the people of this country if I lay off of civil rights and concentrate on economic rights. If I concentrate on the programs for the New Deal that benefit people all around the country. The time will come when civil rights legislation will be possible, but it's not possible yet. So he told Eleanor, just cool things off, and first things first, which was his approach to civil rights.